Did Frozen 2 predict that there would be a global crisis? Did Frozen Fever predict the coronavirus? I didn't even think about this connection until after I launched the previous video, Frozen 2 predicted COVID-19 in the Disney World closure. I had to add this second video. Frozen Fever was released on March 13, 2015. The entire Disney World resort was officially closed on March 16, 2020. This was the first time in history that all 6 Disney theme parks were closed at the same time. For many, this marked the major turning point for the global lockdown, representing literally closing the kingdom. In Frozen Fever, when Arendelle is celebrating Anna's birthday, Elsa comes down with the flu. They end up canceling the whole party so Elsa can stay home under quarantine. Was Frozen Fever a symbolic reference to the coronavirus, symbolizing that some higher-ups in Disney were already anticipating this pandemic? Among the public's response to this global pandemic, 2 positions have developed about the nature of the COVID-19 scenario. The majority are fully supporting the seriousness of the pandemic, the extent of the lockdown, the social distancing, and the masks, with overall concern being placed on global health and safety. A smaller minority is concerned that the severity of the virus has been exaggerated, and the mainstream media, the World Health Organization, politics, and an overarching capitalist agenda is distorting data and misleading the masses' perception. This all resulted in mass hysteria, panic, and a global lockdown that is destroying the global economy and human livelihood. This has created a divide among the masses. The majority's scenario undoubtedly includes fear that, by default, comes with a collective response comparable to a plague. All totally justifiable for the majority that considers the danger to be a global-wide, highly contagious virus. The smaller portion of the population questions the mainstream narrative, proposing that we have not been provided with the whole truth, and that humanity has been misled, lied to, and for some, the opposition is so extreme they consider the entire COVID-19 virus scenario to be bunk. Regardless of what is actually happening to our world, there is confusion and opposing sides on the matter, and everyone is concerned. New information, frequent data updates, new voices, many unanswered questions, conflicting information in all directions, and a growing divide among the people indicate that people are losing faith in the authorities, the government, and the mainstream media to provide us with clarity and truth on global events such as this one. There are some who challenge the media, politics, and influential industries. Criticism is being placed on the abuse of power that is a natural byproduct of the biggest and most powerful industries like mass media, news outlets, corporations, government, pharmaceuticals, and conventional medicine and science. There is a push for more growth in nonpartisan news and information platforms with no special interests, in the hopes that faith in our communication systems may be restored. There are 2 sides of the spectrum with the coronavirus. The majority responding to a global pandemic, and the minority considering that we are seeing some form of global deception or distortion with a bigger, more sinister agenda behind it. Each party is beginning to villainize their opposition. It is as if we are all stuck in a dense fog with no way in and no way out. Elsa would say, "Stop." What we need now is clarity. What we know for sure is that we've all been locked down. We are frozen, waiting for clear answers. Could it be that Frozen Fever represents the current state of humanity, frozen in a state of fear, panic, and for many, desperation and even despair? A frozen fever, if you wish. We need answers. The world is frozen, and the fog needs to clear. And Frozen won? Anna and Elsa are separated for fear that Elsa's powers are a danger to others. We see the kingdom being locked down and the girls being put into a form of house arrest, their expected conduct with each other comparable to social distancing. Elsa is even required to wear gloves as a form of protection. Did the makers behind Frozen, Frozen Fever, and Frozen 2 know COVID-19 was coming? Did they know about the quarantine, the economic crash, the protests and riots, and the coming natural or man-made flood that could ensue if the virus continues to spread, becomes more destructive, and or the social structures that make up our world continue to crumble in the aftermath of this pandemic? There are several voices coming forward from all sides of the spectrum: medical professionals, scientists, researchers, psychologists, and more, urging people to consider that what the masses have been told is not the whole truth, that there's something missing, something doesn't add up. Is questioning the mainstream narrative bad? Questioning means that we could find out that the virus is worse than what we thought, or not as serious. Is it a danger to global health to doubt the numbers or the data, leading to complacency, causing more infection or lost lives from misleading information? The danger of fake news. Should it be censored from the most popular public platforms? Should those who choose not to conform to the lockdown or social distancing be ridiculed, ostracized, or punished, labeled as spreaders? Is it also unwise to continue lockdowns or add more restrictions and laws in order to control the spread without taking more time to review the data that is urging us to do so? I want you to share what you think, because these are very important questions. The screen, where so many look to for guidance and clarity about our world. Who's controlling what we see, and is it an accurate representation of the truth about this pandemic? Regardless of which position you're taking, what do we as the people need to do in order to shed light on the truth? Do we already know the truth? Or is there more to the story? Is there a dark winter coming? Watch Olaf's Frozen adventure and decide for yourself if this Disney short film from the Frozen collection sheds any light on what events may unfold in the future.